From the makers of the 433 leg Geggenpress that I brought you earlier comes the 433 Tiki Taka Dominator. Now, the Geggenpress one didn't do very well. How will this one do? Let's check it out. As you can see, not great. I don't know if it's the guy and how he's done it. There is one more that I want to cover at some point that he's made. We'll see how that one works. But overall, Newcastle in 8th, which is nice for them, I guess, 54 points. Wolves in 11th with 52? And then Tottenham one below with 51. And I will say, even at 54 points in 8th is not fantastic. It is not a great run for these teams. That seems to be the general average or below of what these three teams will see. Newcastle generally in 54, but Tottenham usually is up around, 6th to 9th or thereabouts in the 70s, maybe the 60s. But at 51 points, that is just awful for them. The only thing that this person adds in the description of the tactic is that it's a flat 3-3 tactic in Tiki Taka version. It's in French, so I had to translate it. I apologize for the bad translation, but it says a device close to the 4-4-2 diamond in the possession phase. So take that for what it's worth. But that's what, that's the only thing they put in the 433 Dominator description. People, seriously, if you're going to put tactics on the Steam Workshop, please elaborate. Please, if it's for a specific team, tell you that it's with these specific players or these types of players. Show the teams that you did it with and show, the league positions, some of the matches, things like that, the squad. Please just update the Steam Workshop, the page itself. That's all we ask for. So the tactic itself, as you can see, is a 4-3-3, pretty much Dominator is what he said. It's a tiki-taka, personalized, even though it only says personalized, not tiki-taka or custom tiki-taka. Positive mentality, goalkeeper in defend, fullbacks on support on the left and right, central defenders in defend on the left and right, Carolero in support on the left, an advanced playmaker and attack on the right, a central midfielder on defend and centrally, 2 inside forwards on attack, and then a deep lying forward in attack up front. In possession, attacking width is narrow. Approach pass or approach play is underlap on the left and right, play out of defense, much shorter passing directness, slightly higher tempo, low crosses, and work the ball in the box. In transition, counter press, distribute to the center backs, and take short kicks. And then out of possession, high press line of engagement, much higher defensive line, that could be a problem. Trigger press much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, step up more, and stop crosses. And then you got nothing. So Newcastle sitting highest. The schedule looks, you see a lot of green. Chelsea all the way down to Brighton is a fantastic run right there. And then you just kind of blow it. From Nottingham Forest through Antwerp, obviously with a friendly, not counting that. But Arsenal and Brentford. A nice run there from Leicester all the way to West Ham. And then spotty. And then red. And then a lot of red. You see, though, FA Cup final against Crystal Palace, 0-1 loss. It seems anytime these teams get to a final, they lose it. But EFL Cup, they must have kicked out. Yep, EFL Cup immediately. Burnley, 1-1 penalty loss in the second round. Not great whatsoever. But that they did get to a final. You got to give it to them for that. And as we talk about Wolves, you could see they did not start out very well. An EFL Cup second round is the only win against Leeds United in the first month. And win against Chelsea, which Chelsea apparently sucks this season. But Southampton 0-2, and then a pretty good end of October into end November. So they got some good point tallies there. Another set from Leeds all the way down to QPR in the third round. We know that they go all the way to the semis where they lose out to Newcastle. But man, it's just spotty. They've got a great March. They had a fairly good April minus that 6-1 loss. But 0-2 against Newcastle, 0-0 against Tottenham, Fulham, and then all the way down to Aston Villa. Newcastle finishing out the season with a win, but yeah, that's about it. And then Tottenham with, 51 points? Not good. And okay, August, very spotty all the way down. Did they continue on? Champions League, they seem to be doing okay. EFL Cup fourth round, they do lose out to Manchester United. Did they? Yep, they continued on the Champions League, but 0-3 against Real Madrid, 0-0 at home or away from home against Madrid. They're out in the round of 16. And they're also out in the FA Cup fourth round replay against Chelsea 0-2. And then, wow. Look at that April. Awful April. 2 wins in May, but still Leicester and Liverpool. And Leicester, if you were doing control of this and you were doing fairly well up until this point, probably could do a little bit better than 0-1. But still not a great end of the season at all. Transfers for Newcastle sitting up front. As you can see, they brought in Skriniar from Inter for 30 million, Livakovic from Zagreb for 8.5. We've seen him before. Donny van de Beek from Manchester United on loan. Boyomo from Albacete. I don't know, for 2.2 million. Righe from West Ham for 3.6, and Kai Kennedy from Rangers 325k. And then really Diallo is the only out to Nottingham Forest for 185. So for Wolves, Miguel Veloso from Hellas Verona 325k. Guga from Rio Ave from 2.4 million. Ascaio from Sporting 3.8 million. And Chiquinho from Benfica 6 million. I don't know these players. Miguel Veloso I know, but the others, Guga I've heard of, but Rio Ave I don't know. The only outs, Lembikisa for to Nottingham Forest 950k. We've seen him before. Diego Costa to Corinthians 875. And then finishing out with Tottenham, Luis Alberto from Lazio 36.5. We've seen him before come in. Campagna from Levante for 10.75, and Dominguez from that team for 3.5. And the only outs you could see Fagan Walcott and Muir to Rotherham for 90k. Squad-wise for Newcastle, not too bad. Doing a lot of green, which is nice to see. A lot more than usual. Wolves kind of in the similar setup as Newcastle, but still, I mean, you'd hope for a lot more green in there that they just didn't get. And then Tottenham, only 1 point below Wolves. Have nice in the last 5, but unfortunately overall, the green just wasn't there. Data hub-wise, definitely a different story from what we've seen before, but pretty much on par with the league average. Just a little bit above in certain categories, a little bit below in a couple of others. Fouls per game, though. Ouch. But you can see cross completion percentage is a lot better. That's nice to see. Something positive at least for this. Wolves data hub is kind of similar, although fouls per game is a lot lower. I've noticed Wolves don't tend to foul as much as the Newcastle and Tottenham do, but they are on just bang on average with the league itself. But still, I mean, defensively, not great. Attacking, definitely not dominant, but a little bit better in the crossing and the passing, but still not what you would hope for. And then Tottenham in the data, again, general performance overall not great. Passing is better. The fouls against per game is better. The crossing percentage is better. Fouls per game there, though, yeah, fouls made per game definitely higher. Everything else just pretty much bang on average. Not good for a Tottenham team whatsoever. Premier League stats: Newcastle tied for 4th in most goals, 57. Tottenham with 53. Fewest shots against: Tottenham and Wolves 7th and 8th. Most possession, dribbles made, nobody. Fewest conceded, nobody. Fewest shutouts, Wolves, there you go, 13. Tottenham not in there, so interesting. Most tackles won, nobody. Best passing completion, all 3 though, 90 to 89. I mean, again, they're usually in the 80s anyway, but seeing the top 3 teams right there is pretty good to see, at least. It's a good passing Tiki Taka, that's what you'd expect. But most shots for Wolves in 6th with 513, and most points per game, Newcastle in 8th, 142. If we come to individual stats for the Premier League, as you can see, most goals, Erling Haaland, of course, with 39, but Harry Kane in 2nd with 22, and then Alexander Isak, 13, picking it up just a little from one of the other tactics that we had just recorded. Most assists, Foden with 14, but Kulusevski with 9. It seems small. I don't know why 9 down, just seems small for the season. Most player of the match awards, Saint Maximin with 5, and then Kulusevski with 5. Best pass completion, dribbles made. You can see players in there, but fewest conceded. Livakovic for Newcastle, 42. Most shutouts, Jose Sa for Wolves with 12. Most tackles made, nobody. Key passes, you got Trippier, always is up there with 133. Most shots, nobody. And most goals we've already covered. So sticking with Newcastle being tops of the list right here at least. Player stats for all competitions. Isaac with 17 goals. St. Maximin with 718 highest average rating. St. Maximin with 11 assists. And then St. Maximin with 6 player of the match awards. A nice trifecta there. Skriniar needs Champions League. I mean, not too far. 8, I guess. For Wolves, Traore with 14 goals. Really not great. Nunez with 725 highest average rating. Fantastic there. Nunez with 9 assists. And then also with 6 player of the match awards. The trifecta's here too. Let's see what happens with Tottenham though. Harry Kane, 28 goals for all competitions. Not too bad a tally whatsoever. But again, I mean, he's also in Champions League as well as the Cups and everything, so hopefully he'd be a little bit better than the other 2 teams. But Basuma with 713, highest average rating. Kulusevski with 10 assists. Harry Kane, 6th player of the match awards. But overall, definitely not a tactic that worked for all these teams. Tottenham and Wolves, 52 and 51 points apiece. Not great. But anyway, that is it for me, Sefian FM, for the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.